Namaskar. Welcome to today's edition of Holistic Healing. We are going to tackle a problem which is becoming more and more prevalent, that is belly fat. As you must have seen, people reach a place late, it is their belly or the tummy which reaches first. We think it is sign of prosperity. It is not. It is actually the sign of coming diseases. Our serious mistake is that we think that our body is a compartment where belly fat is different from other fats. It is one of the main dumping yards and one of the first, but you cannot do spot reduction. What your aim has to be overall reduction of your fat. It is true that this is the first part that gets bloated, and it is also true that it is also the last one to go. When you reduce, the weight will go from other places. In fact, the surprising part is the first weight which goes is from your cheeks. People do not know it. When you lose weight properly, somebody will come, "Oh God, what has happened to you? You got sunken cheeks." It is not sunken cheeks. This is the only way you have to lose weight. You have to begin at the spot and finally you have to come down to belly fat. But it has to be done in a systematic, slow manner. The first thing you have to bear in mind is that it cannot be an overnight kind of operation that I'll do something for one day or 1 week or 1 month. You accumulated it over a long period of time, you have to shed it over a long period of time. You should understand, if you have these so-called love handles here, it only means that you put in more than what your body could accommodate. It is your mistake. You have to shed it over a long frame of time. We don't notice it. This one comes over a long period of time. Majority of us are fairly lean and thin our younger days. In school and college, we are fairly lean and thin. We start making the same mistakes and the body valiantly fights against those. Instead of realizing that we are causing harm to us, which will show up later in the life, we have this particular mindset that I can eat and digest anything. But as you know, by the time you reach middle age, you have a protruding belly also. And it has come to be called as middle age spread. My dear, your middle age spread started in your younger days. All those burgers and kulchas that you ate in your school days and college days are now making their presence felt. It's not a one-day thing. You did it over a long period of time, and now it will take equally long time to get rid of it. The second mistake that we normally make is that we have some ready-made excuses where you want to put the blame on somebody else. Some people say that this is hereditary, this runs in my family. Please, belly fat does not run in the family. It only means that nobody runs in your family. Nobody cares to have any exercise. It is not also because of any medicine that you're taking. It is not because of any thyroid problem that you are having. In fact, your obesity is going to make you prone to thyroid. So take the responsibility that I am increasing my input and reducing my output. Your mind should be very clear. You are responsible for it. You have to work for it. There are many things to be done, but in this brief video, you can only talk about the biggest culprits. The first culprit is the lack of physical activity. We think that just because we got a white collar job, now we can just sit behind the desk and enjoy life. I wish things could be that simple. No, they are not. Even if you are in a very senior position, body doesn't know it and it doesn't recognize your job profile. It says, I designed your body to be active for 8 hours in a day. Even if you're not working for 8 hours, you have to do some physical activity for at least 2 hours. You cannot escape it. But as you must have seen, hardly any people have any regular program. What is expected from you is, if you want to shed your belly fat and any other form of fat, 45 minutes of morning walk, 45 minutes of evening walk. It is compulsory, you cannot escape it. If there's some serious health issue also, you think that 45 minutes is too long for you, at worst you can bring it down to 30 minutes, but no further cut please. If you come below that, it will create problems. You cannot go any further low. Begin in a very gentle, slow pace, get used to it, you have to do it. But when you are trying to clear up the backlog, just a gentle walk will not do. You have to increase it to some brisk activity in between, run, do swimming, cycling. You have to make yourself breathless. You have to burn this fat. It cannot be chiseled away. In fact, we can talk about this. Some people thinking of this liposuction and bariatric surgery, they are fooling themselves. That is not the answer. This is something meant only for morbidly obese people. If you are weighing 400 kilo, 300 kilo, when you know that you cannot shed so much of weight, if they go for bariatric surgery, it's okay. Or for liposuction. Yeah, it is being advertised as some kind of a cosmetic surgery. No, please. This little bit of fat that you accumulated here is not your license to go for any kind of surgery. Leave that to those people who are so unfortunate that they have let themselves become into human whales. You, just because you have some padding here, have no right to go to any liposuction or bariatric surgery. You have to work on it, and it cannot be done overnight. You have to keep on doing it. Some people walk for 1 month and say, there's no reduction in my waist. Well, you put it on in 20 years or 15 years. Now you have to work for that. So physically you have to be active and not off and on, because you will again create backlog otherwise. It has to be done on a daily basis. If you eat every day, you have to exercise every day. If you fast completely, fast means water fast. That is the only thing which has got no calories. If you spend one day, whether it is Sunday or Tuesday, your business. If you are totally on water for 1 day in a week, okay, do not walk for 1 day. But if you are eating 7 days a week, you might as well have to walk or do any brisk exercise all the 7 days in a week. But you cannot totally burn it off by walking. We think that your walking or a little bit of exercise is your justification for eating and overeating. You cannot do that. Even for normal, simple food, you are supposed to walk for at least 1 hour. And if you are taking more food or wrong kind of food, then it has to be much more. If you don't want to do that, you have to be in charge of your food also. Both things are important. Quantity also, quality also. Let's begin with quantity. Our misfortune is that we now have sufficient food. There was a time when there was famines, when food was scarce. Today, even the so-called lower strata people have at least food, because of the way it has been arranged, that some rationing is there, basic food is provided. And we think that this is now the license to eat more than what I should. Unfortunate thing is that it has become a matter of some pride that I can eat this much. Isn't it odd that when we talk about cars, scooters and motorcycles, we say that my car, scooter or motorcycle is so good that it takes very little petrol. But when it comes to food, we boast that I can eat so much of bread or so much of burger or so much of omelette, whatever. Limit your quantity. Never eat so much that will make you sick. Never eat so much that will make you feel bloated. If you're eating too much, you will be in deep trouble. So, your basic goal should be, whenever you are sitting down to eat, have the minimum quantity. One easy way of doing that is to reduce the variety of food. If you don't have too much of choice, then you don't eat too much. When there's so many things for you to choose from, we go berserk. We end up eating too much. As you must have seen, in today's weddings, it's very common to have 100 choices. And if it is really a lavish wedding, you could have even 100 sweet dishes. So, limit yourself to a few things. Supposing there are a few choices, there's Indian food and Chinese food, Italian food, Thai food, go to one. Whatever you want, have it in just those things. Do not fall into that trap of picking something from every station and making a pyramid of food with you. The choice itself would be a great help. Earlier, this was the normal tendency that you ate very limited items, so we didn't eat too much. But now we have to create a famine for ourselves. Choices to be limited. At the same time, it is very important that you do not eat too little. I'm dead set against dieting. Dieting is the best way to increase your fat. What happens is that when you go on dieting, you know that you are cutting down food. Your body doesn't know this. It feels that there is some kind of a famine in the world. So it will go into a mode where it thinks that there has been a famine, there will be another famine in the future, so I should store something. So what it will do is, when you are not eating enough, it will shed weight. The moment you start eating more, again it will start accumulating that fat even more seriously. You cannot do that to yourself and keep that golden balance. You don't go below a certain level, you do not go above that level. Once you have controlled the quantity, once you know that this is the right food for me, then it is the question of the quality part. Our biggest problem is twofold. One is sugary items. You see, we have this natural tendency to eat sugar, but natural sugar. We were designed to eat fruits, but the sugary items that you have, the man-made things, are more sweet than anything that God made. So it is but natural for your body to demand sugar, and we cannot stop. In earlier times, sugar was a treat. It was something that you occasionally had. Today it is freely available. If you go to any confectionery store, you will find that there are hundreds and thousands of items which are sweet. You cannot take them. Be sure that all those sugary items are going to end up here. So, studiously cut down on sugary items, especially in liquids. You see, if this is a small volume, it takes less sugar to sweeten your yogurt than to sweeten that big glass of yogurt lassi, or for that matter your lemonade. That will take just too much of sugar. Cut them out. Similarly, soda and cola drinks are terrible. They're full of sugar. They will create problems for you. If you're really serious about cutting down your weight and belly fat, stay miles away from those sugary drinks. Then comes the question of certain other things which do not have sugar but are almost as dangerous as sweet items. Processed food. Today we have almost eliminated coarse grains. They've been all replaced by refined food. We like to have those foods which they're easy to pass through your mouth, not through your body. They all end up as fat and at all the wrong places. You must cut out processed foods. We have to have home cooking. We have to rediscover our own kitchen. Anything you buy from the market, or for that matter, even when you cook it at home from ingredients which have been processed, you'll be in trouble. You see, when you eat normal, regular food, there is a built-in mechanism which stops you when you have to stop. These do not have that facility. Think of it. Supposing you are hungry enough to eat one apple, it will be next to impossible for you to eat 2 or 3. After eating that one apple, you will not feel like having more. But if you sit down to eat one pastry or one slice of cake, you can even eat 2, 3, 4. Why can? People do. They end up eating much more than what they can manage. At that time, nothing happens because you feel that I have managed to send it in. But the problem arises for the machine which has to digest it. It cannot cope up with so much of burden, and it always pads you up at various places. The same thing happens with your fried food. Fried food again is so simple, so comfortable to swallow. It will end up again against belly fat. One common thing said about your French fries is 3 minutes on the lips and 3 years on the hips. So it will create long-term effect. Take these small steps and you will find that this one has started melting automatically. And please remember, it is not from one place. You will be shedding fat from many other places which are not even visible. Why? Because what comes out visibly is also affecting you on the inside. You are padding up so much of fat around your essential organs. This portion is home to most important parts. This 9-inch by 9-inch downtown area has almost all the machinery that keeps you going. You are insulating it. You are affecting its efficiency. You are virtually killing all those organs, and as you know, all diseases begin here. So belly fat should be taken very, very seriously. The ideal ratio is actually 3:2. And people used to have that kind of body. That V shape was not all that unknown. Today, it's only a few bodybuilders and film stars have it. Today, the shape of the building has changed. Now, this is the protruding part and the chest is not well developed. So we have to be very careful, keep it as small as possible. They may sound to be love handles, they are actually hate angles. You are creating problems for everything that is inside. A long-term plan will work wonders. There is no chance that you can continue to have a protruding belly if you eat right and you exercise right. Just a few small steps, and also making sure that you take meals regularly. If you eat them at a wrong time, there will be again problem. What we do is, for our convenience, we will take a huge meal which can last us for 6-7 hours. People are proud of the fact that I take a big meal in the morning so that I can work the whole day. So what will happen is, all those extra food that you ate will remain sitting there and will keep on increasing your weight. You should eat just enough to last you at most 3 hours. That is the outer limit. You should start getting hungry after every 3 hours. If you eat enough for 6-5 hours, it will all show up where you don't want it to show. If you look around, you will find that after 35, it is almost negligible chance of finding a person who has his body in the right proportion. So make sure that you don't have to hide this area. You can keep it away from the public eye, but from your own side, you will be in trouble. I'll not name it. There was a Indian actor who was a heartthrob in the 60s and 70s. When he started putting on weight here, what he did was changed his wardrobe, brought some lovely sweaters and coats from England, so that weight was hidden from the public eye. But how long? Today, he has grown to the size of a whale and has got a million diseases. Nobody can escape that. Shed this belly fat pronto. Do it as quickly as you can. Namaskar.